Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session today we are going to see how we can handle the multi-selection option by using the webdriverIO. So we have seen already the drop downs, those are having a single selection. It means that at one time you can only select one option from this, okay, but there are certain what you call drop downs, or I would say that the list boxes where you can select multiple options. So like you can see, it is like multiple options. So at this moment, see, if you select one, then it will be going dismissing one and then selecting other. But in case of your Windows, if you select one, press the control and keep selecting, then it is a multi-selection. In case of Mac operating system, you can use command instead of the control. So that is how you can do the multi-selection. But then how do we handle this one? By using webdriverIO. So that is what today we are going to see. Now if I just give you guys an overview of what it is in terms of your what do you call the HTML rendering, it is very simple, and as usual you can see it is again the same drop down select tag only, but here the only difference it makes is multiple equal to multiple. So this multiple equal to multiple will allow you to choose multiple options from this drop down, or I would say that list items. And again this select will have number of options like you can see, and this is scrollable like your what do you call your combo boxes also, or the drop downs. Okay, so let's try to create a webdriverIO test actually. So for this I will be taking this particular drop down which we learned in our previous session as my reference. So I will be copy pasting that, and I will be renaming this one to multi-select, let's say multi-select. Okay, and a couple of small changes that I need to do. One is the same URL only, or the test application, but instead of this select will have now it is ID tools. So in this case I will be going as ID, and then I will make it as tools here. Okay, so this is basically the multi-select drop down identification. And after that, the let options, I'm taking a new variable, and this variable will hold all the options. You can see all these options will be held by here. Okay, now coming to this particular options dot length, which would give me the number of items present inside this particular multi-select. That is actually, in this case, it is 6. That is one of the verification that you can do it. The selections are pretty much same actually. There is no difference of using this method which we learned in our drop down as well, right? You can take this select element, and when you put dot, you will have 3 options to choose. Either you can choose by index, you can choose by visible text. What is visible text? Visible text is this text attached to each of the option here. And index we know already 1, 2, but it always starts from 0 only. So in this case, if I'm choosing 1, that is postman actually here. So I'll write as postman. Okay, so that's how you will be selecting. Okay, so select by visible text, select by index, and also you have as usual the select by attribute only. Now let's choose something. Select by visible text, let's say that I want to choose the JMeter. So here let me give the same name JMeter and delete this colon. And select by attribute, let's say that I want to choose the Cypress here, the value equal to Cypress. So my value stays as it is, but this changes to Cypress. Fine, so it is very simple, the same concepts how we have handled the drop down, but there is a slight difference of getting these selected options. So as I spoke, we don't have any option or any webdriverIO out of box method which will give you directly what and all options are already selected. In Selenium, you would have seen get selected options or get first selected option. So there you will be getting that the selected options as a list. But here we need to write our own logic, right? And which we already discussed. How do we get, and we have created a method actually here. So where you will be sending the options. Options is nothing but this one. to this particular method, and here we are simply looping it across that options, and individual options is selected, we are capturing it. If it is true, then it will go inside and capture the visible text, that is nothing but this attached text. And then here we were keeping it as break actually in case of your select the proper drop down, because you can select only one. Now in this case we cannot really break it, right? Because then what will happen, it will always give me the first selected option only from this multiple selections. So this break I need to comment it, so I won't be using that. Now when I'm not using that, if you see the selected text equal to, it means that it will now, after even commenting this break also, the selected text will hold only one value. Okay, so in this case now with the current situation, it will always hold the last selected option. When I'm keeping the break, it always selects it always fetches the first selected item. When I'm commenting this break, it always gets me the last selected option, because every time it will be overriding there. So now what we need to do, so there is a better option. Instead of assigning to a string, what I can do, I can make it as an array of elements or array of string here. In that case, instead of using this as equal to, what I will be doing, I will use the push method actually. So in TypeScript, push method is to push all the items to this particular array. Now in this case, I'm handling first, middle, last, any kind of multi-selected options, which is if this condition is becoming true, then it will be keep on appending to this particular selected text, and I can return it safely. The same thing let's do for this values. Let's say that instead of getting the text, if you want to get the value, you can just use it, and you can see the only difference is get text and get value. Now instead of this, I will say dot push that method, and I will be assigning this one, here, that's it. Okay, and remove the break actually. Okay, so now my get selected value, actually here I can say get selected options, get selected values, because it returns the array, right? So proper naming convention we need to give there. Let's see what is the issue it is coming. Okay, here. Okay, now here we were using get selected option, right? Now in this case we will be using get selected options. Now here 2 equal to, I won't be doing that because I'm getting an array, right? So in this case there is a new expect method I will be using, that is nothing but to contain actually here. Now to contain what? I'm choosing the first option, right? So first index means it is the second item, that is nothing but postman. So now next thing is that now this is my JMeter, right? Now I want to kind of verify this JMeter without using this get selected option. Okay, how do I do that? See, this concept remains same here whatever I'm doing, because see, either I can use this particular method to get the collection, and then I can contain if that particular selection is there or not there, or else directly I can take this particular element and verify whether it is selected or not. In this case it is JMeter, right? So if you go to this here, now let me just inspect this. And if you come back here, see, I can even inspect this JMeter directly. Let me show you that in this selectors hub. Okay, so in this case, what you're going to do, you will say here something like, let's say that this is option, right? So option, sorry, it should be option. Okay, and then square bracket starting, and you will say value equal to double quote, or maybe you can put single quote. And JMeter value is small letter JMeter, right? The value attribute. And now if you enter it, you can see, you can even verify like this also, or you can identify this. In this sense, what I'm trying to say is that I will replace this one with this value JMeter, and is selected to be true. So even I can do this one also. Let's say when you are doing a multi-selection and you have multiple elements to verify, you can use this get selected options, or you can directly identify that particular individual option, and you can ask the isSelected method, which is the default WDIO or the WebdriverIO's default method, which will return you true or false. The same logic we are using here as well. Okay, so now let's do in this way and let's try to see that whether it is returns true or false. Fine. So all these things are done. Now how we are doing, even I can print that also. For an instance, let's say that I want to print all the options that got selected. So what I can do a console.log, and inside this I will be printing this one directly. So I will just copy paste this one inside this, and this is not required, and you can see await new select dot get selected options. So which will give me the number of options that got selected by this particular test case. Fine. So let's see that whether it really executes properly or not. So for this, let me open my terminal and I will say npm run wdio. Okay, it seems like the multi-select is not, this particular test case is not included into our wdio config, right? So that's why it executed our previous test case actually. So I will say multi-select. Okay, now let's rerun the same test and see. And you can see Postman, JMeter and the Cypress, all of these three got selected, and you should see the same output here as well. You can see the collection got printed here, the number of count becomes 6, and my 3 expect statements, right? So if you see, let me close this, and you see first expect statement, second expect statement, and also the get selected option. So these 3 got successfully executed. That's why the test case is shown as pass actually here. So that is how you can use the multi-select option, and you can use the contain to get the total number of items. So hope this session is helpful. Stay tuned. We will be seeing some more interesting topics of the WebdriverIO. Do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.